Attention, quiet on the set. It's Tirade TV. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Definitely appreciate you all for joining. Once again, this is your man B. Lloyd with Tirade TV. We have a very important episode today because of what just happened up in Washington with the Supreme Court. And before we get into that, please like, share, subscribe, comment. All comments are welcome, even if you disagree, as long as you keep it respectful and clean. All comments and opinions are welcome. Um, Also, for you all who love podcasts, go check out our Tirade TV podcast on Spotify. You'll see this handsome face right here on the cover when you search for Tirade TV and Spotify. So definitely appreciate that. Now, let's get to it. As you may have found out by now, the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, as what they call it, just recently today overturned Roe v. Wade, and let's take a look at some of the reactions to it, because obviously you're going to have one side that appreciates it, another side that obviously is very upset right now, and let's just take a look at this video clip here first of all before we go any further, and we'll see exactly what type of reactions or whatever happens here. But let's just take a look at this real fast.
The case regarding Roe versus Wade is now in. All right, so this is the case that involves Roe v. Wade, established 49 years ago. The decision is out. It's been issued by Justice Alito. And Roe v. Wade, according to our reports from the U.S. Supreme Court and our own Shannon Breen, is that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, and the question of abortion has been returned to the states. It's been 50 years since that landmark Supreme Court ruling, and conservatives in government and in law have been working for 50 years to overturn it, and this is the live reaction now in real time outside the U.S. Supreme Court in our nation's
What
palace.
you're seeing there are people who are overjoyed about the decision in this particular shot here. And then you also have people who are obviously going to be dismayed about this. This leak happened about 56 days ago or so, 55 days ago, and they've been waiting for this. We do have some great team coverage.
You'd think that I was actually honestly see more black people out there, but
I am.
seeing that
and
abortions
as you know,
in the
we
black
now
community
get
has
these
been
by
at an
computer.
alarming
In
rate.
the old days, we would get the hard copies and we would run them down the steps, but the initial first line of the read of the syllabus, which is not the actual opinion, but it is the summary of the decision. It says that Roe and Casey are overruled.
Roe
the
and
voting,
Casey are
that we thought
overruled.
was together. It looks like it has stayed together. Justice Alito has authored the opinion. He is joined by Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, Thomas, and Barrett. There are a couple of concurrences. The one that we're most interested in is going to be the one by the Chief Justice. And we'll see what he had to write, because we thought all along he would not be a vote to overturn Roe. But that he would be somebody who might want to try to find some middle ground. That Mississippi law, which bans most abortions after 15 weeks, that he would essentially probably uphold that, but not want to go that extra step for Roe. And the court essentially says today that Roe and Casey are gone. It says, we end this opinion where we began. Abortion presents a profound moral question. The Constitution does not prohibit the citizens of each state from regulating or prohibiting abortion. Roe and Casey arrogated that authority. We now overrule those decisions and return that authority to the people and their elected representatives. The judgment of the Fifth Circuit reversed and remanded for further proceedings. So Roe and Casey, officially, this vote is...
See, let's stop right there. You know, everything goes back to the states now. You know, your elected representatives, your governors, whatever. It goes back to the states. So for people to sit here and think that women's rights have been done away with or taken away, technically they haven't. They haven't. It's just no longer a federal thing. It is a state thing now. So if your state decides that, hey, they want to continue abortion, they will continue abortion. If your state decides that they want to have abortion, they want to ban abortion, they'll ban abortion, which most states that frowned upon abortion anyway had laws in place that really made it very difficult or had already banned abortion, right? And most states that were in favor of abortion or pro-choice states, they had for the most part laws and regulations in their states that allowed for it. So honestly, I don't think many things will change, to be honest with you. Not as much as people say that they are. Now, hear me well when I say this. Even though there are a lot of so-called politicians, mostly Democratic / liberal politicians, and maybe a few Republican, conservative politicians that believe in pro-choice, underneath or behind closed doors or within themselves, they're happy about this. And I'm gonna tell you why. What this did here is going to allow the Democrats and some Republicans to make the midterms and the next election about this. Like, this is the attention grabber right now. Forget the fact that people were on lockdown, forget high gas prices, forget disruption and mayhem and riots by BLM and Antifa. Forget all of that. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Forget the so-called mandates on the jab. Forget all of that. The mandates on the face diapers. Forget all of that. You know, right now to most people, that never happened. Even though there are still people suffering financially because of it. Even though there are still small businesses, that are closed because of it. That never happened, according to most people, because of this. Now, every single vote, every single, you know, election is going to be based on this now in every state. And I don't think that's fair. There's so many other issues out there. Now it's all going to come down to this. And they're making it a woman's rights issue. When me personally, I never really thought it was a woman's rights issue. Is it a moral issue? Obviously, yes. But it's not a woman's rights issue. Now I could see where, let's just say, all 50 states banned abortion, period. Then you might have a case saying, you know what, you're just taking away a woman's rights to, her body, her choice, right? But that's not what's happening. They're leaving the power in the hands of the states. That's all they're doing. It's no longer at a federal level. It's at a state level now. That's all. So when people say, oh, women have no rights, even these so-called politicians that you root for and vote for or have voted for in the past or whatever, they're coming out saying, oh, you took away women's rights. No, you didn't. You just took it to the state level. That's all they did. Like I said, if you were in a state that was pro-choice, your state more than likely is still going to be pro-choice. If you're in a state that is pro-life, your state more than likely will still be pro-life. And as simple as that. I mean, I try not to, complicate things. It is as simple as that. But you best believe that this one decision here is going to shape the midterms and the next presidential election. That's why, me personally, this is just my opinion. You can call it a conspiracy theory. I don't care because I don't believe in coincidences. I think this was intentional. I think they wanted to get this overturned to create more division within the United States. We already had, pro jab versus anti jab, pro mask or face diaper versus anti face diaper, you know, pro Second Amendment versus anti Second Amendment, then you have black versus white, then you have the border issue, the issue at the southern border. Who's for that? Who's against it? Pro immigration. Actually, either you support illegal immigration or you don't support it. We have that. This is just something else to add on. This is just another log to add on or throw on the fire. That's all this is. That's all it is. So when people go to the ballots, this is what they want people to remember. Mostly, I would say the Democratic Party, but there are a few, people in the Republican Party that can't be trusted either, or you don't know what they go wherever the wind blows. Basically, that's what this is about now. So it was cool, they're talking about they're taking away and a right, a constitutional right. So let me get this straight. You didn't want them to take away a so-called constitutional right when it comes to Roe v. Wade, but you were okay with taking away a constitutional right when it comes to the Second Amendment. That I don't understand, because at the end of the day, if they're both constitutional rights, and that's if they're both constitutional rights, well, we should not want any of them to be taken away if they are. And most politicians are going to use this, as an argument. Those who support extreme gun control or anti-Second Amendment, or I call them anti-freedom at this point. They're going to use this as as a weapon, as a tool to say, well, we took this constitutional right away, so we need to go ahead and take the Second Amendment away too, because we can't take one away and leave the other. That's how some politicians are going to play it. Let's be honest. We know that. I mean, if you don't see the game by now, you know, you're a blind, deaf, mute by now. If you don't know, or if you don't see the game now, that's just how I feel about it. So that's what's going to happen. Let's finish taking a look at some of the reactions here. This video here is courtesy of Fox News. I definitely don't want to take credit for it because I wasn't personally there with my video camera or anything. So let's finish playing it.
Out, the votes are in. Once it's officially out, the leak, it was interesting, but it didn't lock these votes in. They're now officially in. And Roe and Casey, you can hear, I think, a lot of the pro-life groups that are out there behind us at the court. They've been fighting for this ever since Roe, and now this victory that many of them didn't think was going to be possible, some of them in their lifetimes. But based on these states that after Roe and in the last couple of years have specifically passed laws they knew would go immediately to court, Mississippi was one of those. Many of the lawmakers involved said our ideal in this is to get this to the court to challenge Roe. They knew it wouldn't stand up against initial challenges, or that it would be immediately in court. And so something that started a couple years ago in the state legislature has now made it here to the Supreme Court and has done what they hope to do, which is dismantle Roe v. Casey in a 5-4 vote. And we'll look at the chief's concurrence, too, to see what his language on this is. We never thought he was part of the majority, those 5 votes to put this together, but it'll be interesting exactly to see what he says on this. But with that opinion from Justice Alito, we'll see how closely this tracks with the draft. But the bottom line doesn't change. Roe and Casey have been overruled.
Shannon, reading 2 lines from the opinion here.
And just to pause, just to interrupt again. Here's the thing about government. For those of you who are happy about this, for those of us who are happy, let's put it this way. The government never gives one thing without taking something else away. Remember that. It's just the way government works. I'm sorry, I didn't make the rules. But first of all, the government never gives anything for free. They may attach the word free to something, but it's somewhere, some point down the line, they're going to find a way to recoup what they gave you for free, right? Same thing with this. So for those who the pro-lifers, we pro-lifers out here, you're happy, but nothing really changes. I think the battle's just beginning. They're not gonna give this and that's it. They may give this, but trust and believe there's something coming down the line that they're gonna take away. It's not like they can just give, 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 give. They have to give, take away, give, take away. If anything, they're gonna take away more than they give. That's just the way the government works. It's been working that way probably for the past, 70 to 100 years, maybe even longer. But that's just how it works.
Quote, there is nothing in the Constitution about abortion, and the Constitution does not implicitly protect the right. Here's another line. It is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives, quoting from that opinion to the Supreme Court for how the reaction is happening now live.
And technically what they're saying is the Constitution is technically not, when it comes to abortion, is not pro-life or pro-choice. So basically what they're saying, with that being the case, let's get the Constitution out of it. Let's take it from a federal level. Let's leave it in the hands of the states. That's all that's happening once again.
Yeah, and not surprising that the justices that are dissenting would stick together. We do have a couple of concurrences. Justice Thomas wrote his own concurrence. Justice Kavanaugh did as well. And the chief is the one that we're going to want to look at. But let me get to the dissent here, and let's see what they have to say, because we know they've been very full-throated. There have been tensions at the court. We've seen that in some of what has come out in other opinions recently, particularly from Justice Sotomayor, has had some language about the court being restless. Although she had very nice words to say about Justice Thomas not long ago, we know that there has been some distrust. We don't have the name of the leaker who originally gave us that opinion or gave it to Politico weeks ago. And so what we're left with is a lot of suspicion within the court. We haven't had any updates on that leak investigation. And so we don't know how close
Me personally, I don't believe it was a leak. I think it was intentionally put out.
We have
That's just my opinion.
Sotomayor and Kagan all signed their name to the dissent. So instead of saying Justice Breyer writes or Justice Sotomayor writes, and they all the others joined, they have all three put their name on this dissent. And they talk about the fact that women for nearly half a century have relied on Roe v. Wade. The government could not control a woman's body or the course of her life. It could not determine what her future would be. They say we get the divisiveness of this particular issue. There's nothing else like it out there. But it says today the court discards balance. It says that from the very moment of fertilization, a woman has no rights to speak of. A state can force her to bring a pregnancy to term, even at the steepest personal and familial costs. An abortion restriction the majority holds is permissible whenever rational. The lowest level of...
Here's my thing. And maybe it's just me. Maybe, like I said, I try to make things simple, not complicated, not complex. But if you don't want to have a baby, don't do what it takes to have a baby. I mean, if you, as a woman, decide to lay down or have sexual intercourse with a man, unless there's some other complications, internally, there's a good chance you're going to get pregnant. So if you know this, why do you put yourselves in a situation to get pregnant? Now I can understand, there's some instances where, let's say someone, may get raped. Well, I have two things on that. One, that is a very, very small percentage of abortions came from, women who were raped. Very small percentage. Do your research, you'll see that a very small percentage of abortions, came from someone who were raped. But if, let me put this in a way where I don't want to be too rude or disrespectful. You know what? I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm not even going to get into that. Very few, as I said, very few. Oh, you know what? I will say this. As a woman or a man, because there are a lot of people that think men can't be raped. They can be. We can be raped. But as a man or woman, we have to do better we have to do better at putting ourselves in positions to where we cannot to where we won't be raped. Let's put it that way. To where we won't be sexually assaulted. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. If someone just comes up to you and grabs you and whatever, sometimes there's nothing you can't defend yourself off. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about that. But and I'm only speaking for me personally here. I personally know people who, you know, who've been raped or sexually assaulted. I personally know men who have been accused of raping someone and who have served time for it. In most cases, not saying all, but in most cases, it was a situation where either one party or both parties were under the heavy influence of drugs and alcohol. Let me repeat that. If not one, maybe both parties, the man and or the woman were under the influence, under the heavy influence of drugs and or alcohol. So I would say to that is make sure we don't put ourselves in the position or in the environment in which this could take place. And as I said, I understand there may be times where, a woman may be in her house and some man breaks in and try to assault her or rape her, which by the way is where Second Amendment rights come in. She'd be able to defend herself. That's honestly, that is a that right there, you know, this is how you would tie those together: abortion and Second Amendment rights. Because if a woman has the fear of being raped, therefore she wants she wants to have the choice or the option to get an abortion, well, shouldn't she also want the option of concealed carry or exercising her constitutional right to defend herself against a would-be rapist? Now, that's what's going through my mind right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. But let's look at some more reactions here. And look at some more reactions because that is, like I said, you have a lot of people that to them this is a joyous occasion right now, and then you have other people who they're very upset right now. So I don't know. I don't understand why people, if everyone wants my body, my choice, where was that same energy when it came to the jab? When they're mandating the jab, it should still be the same thing. My body, my choice. I'm not quite understanding that. It's because we let so-called mainstream media, or politicians, or friends, or whomever decide for us, but we don't really think for ourselves anymore. That's what that is. But let's look at this real fast. This is going to be on Reuters.com, their news, and let's look at some of the actions from so-called politicians or so-called wannabe leaders, people who've called themselves leaders, but not so sure about it. And that's just my opinion. Once again, this is on Reuters website here. It said, you're reading here where it says, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat, in a statement, quote, "This cruel ruling is outrageous and heart-wrenching. But make no mistake, the rights of women and all Americans are on the ballot this November," unquote. You see what I'm saying? That's exactly what I'm saying. They're going to put this on the ballot in November, and they're going to try to make everything Not saying that it shouldn't be on the ballot, but what I'm saying is they're going to try to make everyone forget everything else that has happened over the past 2 years. Is this monumental? Yes, but it's not the only thing that's happened in this country over the past 2 years. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, in a statement, which I honestly, he's one of those guys I really don't like either. He's one of those Republicans I don't really trust or like. Says, quote, "This is an historic victory for the Constitution and for the most vulnerable in our society," unquote. This decision is courageous and correct. Planned Parenthood, quote, "SCOTUS may have just ended our constitutional right to abortion, but know this: abortion is health care, and you deserve to control your body and your future no matter what. That hasn't changed. We can't and won't. We can't and we won't back down now," unquote. Man, you know what? I love that Planned Parenthood said that. I don't like Planned Parenthood, but look at what they just said. Quote, "SCOTUS may have just ended our constitutional right to abortion, but know this: abortion is health care." And this next sentence is very key. "And you deserve to control your body and your future no matter what." Where was that same energy? And I'm clapping if you hear in the background. Where was that same energy when it came to jab mandates? No one was saying that then, that you deserve to control your body and your future no matter what. But all of a sudden now, it's a wonderful saying. It's a wonderful statement. Anyways, let's get to the next one. World Health Organization, or the WHO, Director General Tedros Adhanom, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, Ghebreyesus, to Reuters, quote, "I am very disappointed because women's rights must be protected, and I would have expected America to protect such rights," unquote. Okay, WHO, World Health Organization, did you want to protect the women's rights, the women who didn't want to get the jab, or the women who didn't want to wear face diapers? Did you want to protect their rights? Their rights not to do those things? Just a question. That's all. I'm just asking questions. You know, leave your comments below. If you agree or disagree, don't care. I'm just asking questions. That's all. See what the old orange man has to say. Republican former President Donald Trump, quote, "This is following the Constitution and giving rights back when they should have been given long ago. This brings everything back to the states where it has always belonged," unquote. Yeah, that's basically what it does. It's not taking rights away. It's just leaving rights in the hands of the state. Bottom line, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump says. I don't know how much I even trust Donald Trump at this point because he's been kind of wishy-washy to me also. But I mean, do I trust him more than Biden? It's 60-40 at this point. 60 Trump, 40 Biden. That's my trust percentage with them. I don't really trust any of them, but if I had to put it, divide up 100%, it'd be 60-40 in favor of Trump. And look who's quote unquote risen back up. Former Vice President Mike Pence in a statement. Quote, "Today, life won. By overturning Roe v. Wade, the Supreme Court of the United States has given the American people a new beginning for life, and I commend the justices in the majority for having the courage of their convictions," unquote. Yeah, like I said, another guy I don't trust. I don't trust Mike Pence. He comes off as this, you know, high moral, high standard, God loving, God fearing person. I don't trust this guy. That's just my opinion. And of course, we had to hear from Democratic former President Barack Obama. See, the thing is, today, the Supreme Court not only reversed nearly 50 years of precedent, it regulated, it relegated the most intensely personal decision someone can make to the whims of politicians and ideologues. attacking the essential freedoms of millions of Americans, unquote. That's Barack Obama. Whatever. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton never let a good crisis go to waste. Quote, most Americans believe the decision to have a child is one of the most sacred decisions there is, and that such decisions should remain between patients and their doctors. Today's Supreme Court opinion will live in infamy as a step backward for women's rights and human rights. Unquote. See, maybe I'm slow. I'm still not understanding because the rights just go back to the states. No one's just saying completely ban abortion forever and ever in the United States, no matter what. All this does is put the rights and the pressure back on the elected officials, back on the states. That's all. And I know I've said that 17 times, but sometimes you got to keep saying it, so people can understand. Hold up. Well, why does this, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Twitter. What do you have to, come on, man. Keep your opinions out of America, dude. As an American, I do not want to hear the opinion of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I don't want to hear your opinion, dude. You're not an American. But he goes on to say, quote, the news coming out of the United States is horrific. My heart goes out to the millions of American women who are now set to lose their legal right to an abortion. No government, politician, or man should tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body. Unquote. So, listen here, PM Trudeau. You are the same politician or man that were basically telling people, including women in your country, to go get the jab or to go or to wear face diapers. Right? Now correct me if I'm wrong, but we can go back and pull up the footage. You actually said this, right? But now all of a sudden, you say in your quote here, according to Reuters, no government, politician, or man should tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna let you all think about that. Let you all discuss that at the dinner table. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson at a news conference. Quote, I think it was a big step backwards. I've always believed in a woman's right to choose and stick to that view, and that is why the UK has the laws it does. Who cares? Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Let's read this. Senator Patty Murray, Democratic chair of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, in a statement, quote, Republicans are forcing women to stay pregnant and give birth when they don't want to, no matter the circumstances. The American people will not forget Republicans' cruelty, not today, tomorrow, and not this November, unquote. See, once again, what did I say? They're going to make the entire election about this one event, this one issue. Once again, Miss Patty Murray, Senator Patty Murray, were you one of the people who were forcing women to get the jab or wear a face diaper? Just a question. Republican Senator Steve Daines, chair of the Senate Pro-Life Caucus, in a statement, the decision, quote, ends a historic injustice and rightfully ends one of the world's most horrific abortion policies. The long overdue demise of judicially imposed abortion on demand gives bright new hope to unborn children and their moms across America, unquote. See, I'm pretty sure all of these people that are pro-choice, that are for abortion, I'm pretty sure they love their jobs. And I'm pretty sure they definitely love the power and the authority that they have with their so-called elected roles. But here's the thing. If your mothers would have aborted you, would you be in the positions you are right now to enjoy all the wealth and fame and power and so-called authority that you have right now? Let me guess. No, you wouldn't, because you wouldn't be here. So all those babies who are getting aborted, they didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be conceived. That man and that woman made that decision to conceive them. Man, I tell you. Anyway, that's enough for any one of these other comments that I actually want to read to you all right now. I don't necessarily think any of these are even worthwhile. I'm not even trying to read any of those right now, to be honest with you. But you see my point. Once again, it's quote my body, my choice, unquote, when it comes to this issue. But when it comes to certain other issues over the past couple of years, it's not my body, my choice. I don't know. What do you all think? Are you pro life, pro choice? I welcome all opinions. Please leave it in the comments. Let me know. And before I let you go, remember this. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Please download the podcast, the Tirade TV podcast on Spotify. As I said earlier, you'll see this handsome face when you search for it. And also, remember this. Never let mainstream media or some so-called politician dictate what you do, how you think. Do your research and think for yourselves. See you. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.